Wall Street rallies on Thursday after Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic says he favors slow and steady policy action, backing a quarter-point rate hike. Almost all Asian markets trade higher. The SGX Nifty suggests a positive start for the Indian market. Oil rallies are signs of an economic rebound in China and hopes of slower policy action offset supply fears. Brent crude trades just below $85 a barrel. Relief for Adani Group promoter trims holdings in 4 entities as US-based marquee investor GQG Partners pumps in more than 15,000 crore rupees to pick up minority stakes in Adani Enterprises, Ports, Transmission and Adani Green. And the Chief Economic Advisor V. Ananth Nageswaran says India's high-frequency data suggests this financial year's GDP numbers may be revised upwards rather than downwards, sees GDP growth for FY23 to exceed the government's projected 7%. And no joint statement after a meeting of the G20 foreign ministers in Delhi due to differences over Ukraine. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says there were polarized views in the room regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. Foreign ministers of the Quad are scheduled to meet this morning. Hi guys, good morning and welcome to Power Breakfast. I'm Pavitra Parekh. Those are the top headlines that we have for you on the final trading day of this year. There's clearly lots going on. There's lots of news flow that has come through overnight. But first up, let's just go through what's happening as far as the global markets go. We did get a good handover. And on the back of that, you have all Asian markets barring just the Kospi, which are opening with some good gains. So Hang Seng is up on your screen, 1.2% higher there. What's actually looking the best this morning is the Nikkei markets. It's seeing a 1.4% pop for the Nikkei. So that one holding up really well. Whether you look at Taiwan, which is up on your screen, it's a 0.25% higher there. Straits, Shanghai, seeing similar levels. So it's looking pretty good across the board for Asia. Kospi is the only one which is absolutely flat right now, just a minor red tick on that index. The SGX Nifty will be up for you, and it is indicating a very good start for our own markets. Over 100 points higher is what we have for us on the SGX Nifty. But let's also talk about the US markets now. Wall Street ended yesterday's session higher, so the Dow Jones closed 340 points in the green. The S&P 500 finished nearly 30 points higher. And the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite also saw a gain of over 80 points. The street also reacted to comments coming through from Raphael Bostic, a key Fed official who backed a quarter-point rate hike. So on that note, let's also get you some key comments from the Federal Reserve officials that we're tracking. So first up, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic, like I said, he told you that he's supporting pushing rates above 5.1% and added that there is a case to be made that the Fed needs to go higher. There's more that came through. Christopher Waller, who's member of the Fed Board of Governors, said that if the economy continues to show strength and inflation remains elevated, the Fed will need to lift its rates above that 5.4% kind of level. And then finally, we also heard from Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari, who echoed Waller's comments and said that there are concerning data points which suggest that we are not making progress quite as quickly as expected, and that he also does lean towards raising rates a little bit further. So all three comments that are coming through in favor of really going higher as far as rates go. But on that note, let's get you some important opinion. This comes through from Mohammad El Arian, Chief Economic Advisor at Allianz.
I think the market is going beyond the Fed. I mean, look at the 2-year. I think that's the most important price to look at right now. And the concern that's in the market, and we've seen how inverted the curve remains, is that we may end up having the Fed tip us into a recession that's totally unnecessary. Every time the Fed falls behind, and this is the 3rd time it has fallen behind in 2 years, every time it falls behind, the probability of the Fed tipping the economy into recession goes up. So that's what you're seeing in terms of the yield curve, the 10-year versus the 2-year. I was against them going to 25. I was on your show before the FOMC meeting. I wrote it down saying, don't downshift yet, it's too early, but they downshifted. So now what do? If you go back to 50, which is what the data warrants, if they are truly data dependent, then they should go back to 50. You do 2 things. You undermine your forward policy guidance, and you undermine the narrative of disinflation. If you stick to 25 and go higher for longer, which is the alternative, you risk hiking into a slowing economy, and you undermine your credibility even more.
All right, that is some important opinion coming in on the US markets as well as how the Fed could really move from here. But that's everything that we're tracking globally. Let's now take you through all of the cues that you should have on your radar as we get into this trading session. So our research team joins us with the trade setup. Sonal, Nigel and Surbi are all here to take you through all of the individual cues that you should track as well as the stocks that could be in focus today. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Sonal, this is an SGX Nifty that we will take with both hands.
Oh, we will also take with both hands is the fact that it's Friday today, so last trading day of the week. As far as the global cues are concerned, we've been talking about that. Positive cues, US markets, they closed higher. And this is after some commentary from the Atlanta Fed president where he said that yes, there will be rate hikes, but they'll be slower than what the street is working with. And this is something that led to a rally across the board as well. And Dow saw the best day that it saw since 13th of February. So that's the kind of move that we saw as far as the US markets are concerned. Asian markets also, they will come up for you. So something like a Hang Seng, which is higher by 175 points. Taiwanese index is up by 41 points. So across the board, it's largely green on the Asian screen as well. And SGX Nifty, what a move that we are seeing on that one today. 103 points higher, indicating a gap up opening for our own markets today. Well, if we talk about India, so to say, Nifty gave up nearly all the gains that we saw on Wednesday. Wednesday was a good session for the bulls, but yesterday we pared down those gains. Last hour decline was led by weekly expiry since it was a Thursday. Nifty almost closed at the day's low, and that is something that we'll be tracking as well, 130 points lower. And it was led by the IT index, which lost over 1% in trade yesterday as well. In terms of flows, DII's net bought 2,128 crore rupees in cash. FII's bought, according to the reported numbers, 12,770 crore rupees. But if we adjust for the Adani block deals, which we'll discuss in greater detail, it's a net sell figure of around 2,676 crore rupees. So that is very important to track as well. Not only in the cash market, even if we talk about index futures, FII's net sold 532 crore rupees. And now the Nifty low on Monday, that was at 17,255. It is an important level to track. So yes, it could be a good start. We'll have to see whether those levels sustain today or not.
All right, we can just hope that that good start sustains. Sonal, thanks a lot for that. But let's also talk about the individual stocks that are in news today. Surbi has that entire list, and of course, Adani dominating sentiment there.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for that. So, a few stocks that are on my radar today. Adani Group stocks will continue to be in focus as they complete a secondary equity transaction of 15,446 crores with GQG Partners. MMFSL reported their monthly update, and the total disbursement for the month of Feb was up 53% on a year-on-year basis, and the loan book was up 1.5% on a month-on-month basis. Alembic Pharma, the company will take an impairment charge of 1150 crores on 3 manufacturing facilities under construction in Gujarat. Mastech, the company appoints Vijay Iyer as the president of the Americas region. GAIL will also be in focus as regulators' new proposed unified pipeline tariff of rupees 60.92 per MMBTU is about a 41% increase in the company's average tariff across its pipeline assets. And lastly, MOIL reported their production numbers, and it recorded a 10% jump on a year-on-year basis at 1.3 lakh tons of manganese ore.
Surbi, thanks a lot for taking us through all of that stock-specific action. But I'm going to hand it over to Nigel now, who's looking at all of the cues from the futures and options space. Hi, Nigel.
Well, morning, Pavitra. Yesterday, the weekly expiry played out, and it played out in favor of the bears. So to call it, yesterday was a hangover for the bulls. The good news, though, is that today we're likely to start off in the green. What played out yesterday, there was no fresh shorting on the Nifty Bank. Remember, that's been the big outperformer. There was unwinding of long positions, and that perfectly tallies with what the FIs did on the index futures side, because the long positioning came down by close to around 8,000 contracts odd, which takes us to the short contracts going back up to around 85% of that mix. That'll be a blessing in disguise. Remember, if we get some news, if we get some follow-through, those shorts are going to get squeezed out, which could push the markets higher. That's a big if, though, if we can hold on to those gains. What does the Nifty options data tell you? Well, yesterday, the 17,400 call, well, that was adding open interest big time, close to around 50 lakh shares getting added. Remember, now we're talking about the next Thursday's contract. And the premium out there was around 75 rupees. So you put that together, well, the bears, they want to defend that 17,400 to around 17,450 to around 17,500 odd mark. What's giving you hope, though, is that there was some writing at lower levels at around that 17,300 odd put. So let's plug in the numbers. We're going to start off closer around the 200 DMA. The bulls want the Nifty to trade above that 200 DMA for a longer duration. That's what could give the bulls some bit of a hope that we can move higher. Support, well, it's in line with what the recent low was, 17,255 odd. The Nifty Bank, that's very, very important. That could be the big turning point today, because we did see that 40,500 call, Well, it was very active yesterday. The premiums around 270 rupees. So the reading is that there was writing at those levels, which tells you 40,800. That's a crucial resistance level out there. The support is the recent low. Short point is the SGX Nifty is indicating a big gap up. We need to hold on to these gains and trade above that 200 EMA. That's what will give bulls some hope that they can go into the weekend much happier. Back to you.
All right, let's see if that happens or not. Nigel, thanks a lot for that. But with that, we are going to get into our first short break on the show. Like we told you, the big story this morning is that US-based GQG Partners, along with other funds, has pumped in over 15,000 crore rupees in Adani Group stocks. We'll get you all of the details when we come back. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast here on CNBC-TV18. And the top story this morning, Adani Group promoter sells stakes in 4 companies to GQG Partners for 15,446 crore rupees. The promoter entity, SB Adani Family Trust, offloaded stocks in group companies via multiple block deals. Nimesh is standing by with all of the details on this one. Nimesh, we knew that there were blocks taking place, but the seller and buyer are now confirmed.
Yes, Pavitra. So, in a big corporate development, Adani family promoters have managed to raise 15,446 crores by selling stake in the 4 group entities to GQG Partner, which is one of the marqueest global names as far as the investments are concerned. So, just to quickly run through, the Adani family sold 8.6 crore shares in Adani Ports worth 5,200 crores. In Adani Green, they sold 5.6 crore shares worth close to 2,800 crores. In Adani Green, in Adani Transmission, they sold 5.5 crores, 2.8 crore shares, valuing close to 1,900 crores. And the biggest was in Adani Enterprise. There, they sold 4 crore shares, raising close to 5,500 crores. So, all put together, they've raised 15,500 crores by selling this stake. So, it's a big relief rally, which is going to see in the Adani Group stocks, and maybe you'll see a rub-off of that in the bank stocks as well in the morning trade today.
Well, absolutely. Quite a push of confidence there, right? But Nimesh, stay on. In fact, we also got a comment from Rajiv Jain, who's chairman and CIO of GQG Partners. He said, and I quote, "I'm excited to have initiated positions in Adani companies. Adani companies own and operate some of the largest and most important infrastructure assets throughout India, as well as around the world. Gautam Adani is widely regarded as amongst the best entrepreneurs of his generation, and we believe that the long-term growth prospects for these companies are substantial." End of quote. So this is an important comment that came through, of course, from GQG Partners. But Nimesh, let me come back to you. Tell us a little bit about GQG Partners. Take us through what this fund really, does. And in fact, I was looking at its holdings, a lot of the very well-known Indian large caps.
Oh, absolutely. So, they have a long list of blue chip holdings in India. But first on Rajiv Jain, you read the quote of Rajiv Jain. He's got an illustrious career of more than 30 years. Before setting up GQG Partners, he was with One Table for many, many years. And he's got an excellent track record as far as investments are concerned. Now, GQG globally now currently manages close to $90 billion across the globe. And they have a huge exposure into emerging markets as well. I was looking at the GQG Partners Emerging Market Fund. That's close to $11 billion. And within that fund, there is a lot of India holding as well. So part of it, the top holding includes the names like ITC, HDFC, Reliance, ICICI Bank, Bharti Airtel, Infosys, Tata Steel, HDFC, AMC, Cipla, Power Grid, JSW Steel. These are a few names that I can highlight. But as I said, the India exposure is quite strong. Some of the blue chip names that they own, and now they've added the 4 Adani Group stocks by investing close to 15,400 crores in the 4 Adani Group companies.
All right, Nimesh, thanks a lot for taking us through all of the details there. In fact, earlier we were also joined by IMF's KV Subramaniam, who discussed about all of these fresh investments into the Adani Group of companies. So let's listen into that.
Investors put their money where their mouth is. The fact that investors have put in money, I think, clearly suggests that there is upside, and that upside should be essentially consistent with the fact that there is a lot of fundamental aspects to the Adani Group that is valuable. When related parties are well recognized and all transactions between them are actually disclosed well, I think there'll be a lot of improvement in governance that will happen.
All right, that is the word coming in from KV Subramaniam. And with that, we do have to get into a short break on the show. But on the other side, we're going to shift focus from equities to the world of commodities. There's lots happening there as well. So we'll take you through the latest. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast, and let's talk about the world of commodities now. Manisha joins us for an update. Manisha, it is once again crude that's really on top of headlines.
Well, it is. And, after, as I said, after 4 months of decline, this is going to be a strong beginning to March. And this week is headed on a positive note as well. The markets are supported by strong Chinese data. The China imports of Russian crude also is expected to hit a record highs in the month of March. The first week has been quite positive itself. And now the Atlanta Fed president is supporting a 25 basis point rate hike. And that seems to be supporting commodities as well. The U.S., though, has witnessed 10 weeks of crude stock build, but that's something that the markets seem to be shrugging off right now, and 84 is holding for the Brent prices quite strongly. The metal prices also have come back with a bang. So whether it's about gold, silver, platinum, copper, we are looking at strong week onto this one. It is about the U.S. non-farm payroll data today. That comes in the evening. That will give you further direction for the prices. But for the week, it has been a very strong one. Apart from that, it also is about the China annual meeting of National Party Congress that begins on Sunday, and markets are expecting further stimulus from there. So everywhere that you look, there is some support mechanism coming in.
All right, Manisha, thanks a lot for getting us that roundup of what's going on in the world of commodities. But with that, we do have to wind down on this edition of Power Breakfast. Before that, a quick look at the Asian markets, which are, by the way, all in the green right now. Gains really led by the Japanese markets, up 1.5%. So that's climbed up even more in the past few minutes. You have Hang Seng, which is seeing an 0.8% move right now, looking quite good there, 140 points higher. Taiwanese markets and the rest of them also seeing gains between 0.25% to 0.5%. The SGX Nifty indicating a full 100-point bump up at the start of the trading session. So it looks like the start will be positive. Let's see how we move from there. For now, it's guidance down on Power Breakfast. Thanks for tuning in. Bazaar Morning Call up until.
Brought to you by LIC. Har Pal